Hey guys, Enfield TV here. I've been a huge Star Wars fan for a long time, so I wanted to make a series reviewing all 9 Star Wars movies, starting with The Phantom Menace. So without further ado, let's get right into it. When I was younger, I loved this movie, but most people in the Star Wars community hated the prequels and despised The Phantom Menace. When I got older, I realized that this movie was flawed, but I still found it enjoyable and fun to watch. However, over time, the overall opinion about this movie by the Star Wars community has changed. A lot of people love this movie now, whether it's because of their hatred for the sequels, because people my age who grew up on the prequels have gotten older, or because of the memes. Now, my opinion really hasn't changed. I still think that it's very flawed, but it's fun and enjoyable to watch. So what do I think is the main problem with this movie? I think it fails to convey its purpose to the audience. To try and explain what I'm saying, I'm going to begin by playing a clip from an amazing interview with Dave Filoni.
Prequels I thought were almost an impossible task. How do you tell the story that we've all grown up with imagining who Anakin Skywalker was? You saw so many things in Phantom Menace that you just imagined, like the Jedi Council, and none of it really was what I had expected. But I know now that that's just like how creative George is. Like, he just sees it differently and he's laying it down. And I love the lightsaber fight with Darth Maul, not because it's a lightsaber fight, but because George is so good at crafting why that fight's important every time. Like, you know, the Obi-Wan Darth Vader fight isn't like the most wonderfully staged necessarily combat that you're ever going to see, but there's so much at stake. It's so meaningful when Obi-Wan dies that we all feel like Luke. In Phantom Menace, you're watching these two Jedi in their prime fight this evil villain. Maul couldn't be more obviously the villain. He's designed to look evil, and he is evil, and he just expresses that from his face all the way out through the type of lightsaber he fights with. What's at stake is really how Anakin's going to turn out, because Qui-Gon is different than the rest of the Jedi, and you get that in the movie, and Qui-Gon is fighting because he knows he's the father that Anakin needs. Because Qui-Gon hasn't given up on the fact that Jedi are supposed to actually care and love, and that that's not a bad thing. The rest of the Jedi are so detached and they've become so political that they've really lost their way. And Yoda starts to see that in the second film. But Qui-Gon is ahead of them all. And that's why he's not part of the council. So he's fighting for Anakin. And that's why it's the duel of the fates. It's the fate of this child. And depending on how this fight goes, his life's gonna be dramatically different.
That interview is absolutely incredible. It completely changed the way I look at The Phantom Menace. The problem, however, is I shouldn't have to watch an interview with Dave Filoni to understand the point of The Phantom Menace. That should be conveyed to the audience in the movie. They never say once in the movie that Qui-Gon believes that attachments are okay, and that's why he's not on the council. They just say he's not on the council. If that was conveyed to the audience, it would help us to have a greater understanding of Qui-Gon and his importance in Anakin's life. For the longest time, I actually thought the Jedi Council was right, because Anakin did make an attachment, and he did end up turning to the dark side. So without that tad bit of information about Qui-Gon, it really skews how an audience member can see the purpose and the point of this movie. Another problem with this movie is how it introduces the Force and the Jedi to the audience. This movie assumes you've already seen a Star Wars movie before, because there's not much explanation for what the Force or the Jedi are until you meet Anakin, which is quite a ways into the movie, about 30 minutes. So if an audience member has never seen a Star Wars movie before, which is probable considering this is the first movie chronologically, they're probably going to struggle to understand what's happening. So you're just thrust into this world of force pushes and laser swords, and you have no idea what's going on. I know that Jar Jar is made for kids, but it's possible to have a funny character that appeals to kids without having crude and distracting humor. Jar Jar doesn't really add much to the story, he's just there to get a cheap laugh out of kids. As children's movies have proved time and time again, it's possible to make kids' movies without insulting their intelligence. So that's all I'm gonna say about Jar Jar. Speaking of characters, none of the characters in this movie really have arcs. They don't learn anything, so they're really not that interesting or relatable. A lot of people have a hard time telling who the main character is. It's supposed to be Anakin, but because he doesn't come into the movie for so long, a lot of people think it's Qui-Gon. Not to mention, some of the dialogue is poorly written, which leads to the actors giving some poor performances in certain scenes. At the end of the movie, Anakin blows up the droid control ship, and it's just really dumb. In A New Hope, when Luke blows up the Death Star, he has to learn something. He has to learn to trust in his feelings. So when he succeeds, there's an emotional weight to that when he triumphs. When Anakin blows up the ship, he does it by accident. So it doesn't really mean anything to us when he does it. Not to mention, we don't care about the CGI Gungans getting killed on the battlefield, so there's no tension that's been relieved when this happens. So this movie has a lot of problems, and I haven't even mentioned them all, but I have to give credit where credit is due. This movie has several very well done scenes. I particularly enjoyed the scenes with Qui-Gon, Anakin, and his mother, particularly this one where Anakin leaves his mother. It's very emotional, and it's very well done. The pod race scene, do I even have to talk about it? It's incredible. It looks great, it's entertaining, it's tense, it's something original. I love how nothing else in the Star Wars universe is like this part of the movie. The special effects in The Phantom Menace and throughout the prequels are groundbreaking. They're so good. They still look great today. Of course, the score by John Williams is amazing. Some people actually argue that his music for the prequels is better than the originals. Personally, I don't really have an opinion. I love all of it. And how could I forget the lightsaber battle? Darth Maul's double-bladed lightsaber, it's fast, exciting, Duel of the Fates is playing over it. It's unlike any Star Wars lightsaber battle we had ever seen up to that point, and that's why it's amazing. No matter how many times you watch it, it's fun and exciting. So my conclusion on The Phantom Menace? Well, like I said earlier, it's flawed, but it's still really fun and enjoyable to watch. Thanks for watching this video. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say about The Phantom Menace, so make sure to comment something down below. If you like this video, leave a like, and if you're interested in seeing the rest of this series, make sure to subscribe. See you guys next time.